Welcome to Stats Madness. Joining me today is Frank Hardy. We'll dive into Burnley's 0-1 loss to Manchester City. Burnley sits 19th with 20 points, while City leads with 70. Let's start with Burnley's struggles in front of goal. After discussing Burnley's scoring woes, let's dive into the match stats against Manchester City.
The 0-1 loss is stark, but looking deeper, Burnley had just one shot on target compared to City's 9. They only created one big chance while City had 4. Overall, Burnley managed 9 total shots, dwarfed by City's 28. Possession was heavily skewed too, with Burnley holding just 35% to City's 65%.
Given those match stats, how did Burnley and Manchester City perform across key categories?
Manchester City showcased attacking superiority with 86.0 versus 15.5, a 69% edge. Possession control was also City's, holding 60.1 against Burnley's 35.6. However, Burnley excelled in defensive solidity, scoring 74.8 against City's 42.7, a 27% edge. Overall, it was a tactically split contest. Burnley dominated defense, while City controlled attack and possession.
Interesting how City's attack and possession were distinct from Burnley's defense, but what about their specific playing styles?
Manchester City's precision was unmatched, completing 90.0% of their passes, including 620 successful ones. They favoured short, precise passing to control the pace. Meanwhile, Burnley adopted a more direct approach, attempting 61 long passes, but with only 30.0% accuracy.
Wait, really? So Burnley's long passes were mostly off target. How did City's approach impact their attack?
City's patient build-up resulted in 19 shots inside the box, compared to Burnley's 6. They also hit the woodwork twice, highlighting their attacking edge. This precision allowed City to maintain offensive pressure throughout the match.
So, with City's passing precision dissected, how did the momentum shifts look throughout the match?
Key intervals show City's dominance early on. Erling Haaland's goal in the 0-15 period was pivotal, with City controlling 76% possession. In the 30-45 window, Burnley surged, leading in accurate crosses and achieving a 50% success rate. However, City's 75-90 interval push was clear, with 9 total shots, maintaining 65.2% possession. Burnley's attempts to regain control with successful crosses in the 15-30 range were notable, but insufficient against City's consistent pressure.
After that momentum shift review, how does Burnley compare to their season averages in this match?
Burnley posted 10.0 blocks today, well above their season average of 4.48, showing an upward trend. Their 8.0 saves leap from a 3.59 season average, building on 1.0 last time out. However, they hit the woodwork 0.0 times, below their season average of 0.5, continuing a downward trend.
Speaking of Burnley's strength in blocks, how do they stack up in the league standings this season?
Burnley has confirmed their elite status in saves, with 8.0 today, landing them in the top 5% of the league. Their season average of 3.59 significantly surpasses the league norm of 2.77. However, their struggles in shots on target persist, with just 1 today.
Wait, really? So their defensive prowess contrasts sharply with their offensive challenges?
Exactly. Burnley averages 3.03 shots on target per match, trailing the league average of 4.16. Their identity leans heavily on defense, not offense.
Given Burnley's defensive focus, how do they compare to their bottom 6 peers in creating and missing big chances?
Burnley creates just 1.48 big chances per match, lagging behind peers like Leeds United and West Ham United. They also struggle in ball possession, averaging 41.73% compared to Nottingham Forest's 47.33%. However, they excel in efficiency, missing only 0.88 big chances per match, outpacing rivals like Wolverhampton Wanderers and Leeds United, who miss 1.71.
So comparing Burnley to their peers was insightful. Now, how does Manchester City measure up against their own season averages?
Manchester City hit the woodwork twice, exceeding their 1.0 season average, showing an upward trend. Their 28 shots today also surpassed their 14.84 average, with a standout high. Surprisingly, accurate crosses dropped to 1 from a 4.69 average, indicating a decline.
After seeing Manchester City's shot dominance, how do they rank across different league metrics this season?
Manchester City confirms their elite identity in shots inside box, with 19 today against an 8.38 average league-wide. Their top 0% there, and their 620 successful passes also put them in the top 0%, well above the 360.36 league average.
Wait, really? So they dominate those metrics. What about areas needing improvement? Anything surprising?
Yes, their long passes are a systemic issue. They managed only 24 today, bottom 0% against a 50.03 league average, which highlights a key area for development despite their passing prowess.
Given Manchester City's current league standing, how do they stack up against their closest peers in key metrics this season?
Manchester City is neck and neck with Liverpool, Manchester United, and Arsenal in shots total at 28.0 versus a 15.3 benchmark. Their 3.22 big chances created keep them ahead of those rivals. However, their long passes average of 39.09 lags behind Manchester United and Aston Villa's 46.47. They match their peers with 2.06 big chances missed, aligning with Arsenal's standard.
So, while Manchester City battles it out with their rivals in metrics, who are the standout players in terms of ratings this season?
Ryan Cherki leads Manchester City's attack with an impressive 8.51 rating, while Martin Dubravka stands out for Burnley at 8.26. In defence, Abdulkadir Kusanov shines with 7.52, and Bernardo Silva impresses in midfield with 7.67. Erling Haaland also makes an impact up front, achieving a solid 7.56.
Ryan Cherki's standout 8.51 rating puts him ahead this season. How does he compare to his usual performance?
Ryan Cherki excelled in rating with 8.51, above his 7.34 average. Key passes were a personal best at 8.0, far exceeding his typical 2.48. He also created 8.0 chances, dwarfing his 2.71 average. Surprisingly, he didn't score any goals, falling short of his usual 1.0. Despite the goal drought, Cherki's creative play was unmatched.
Ryan Cherki's 8.51 rating was impressive against his season average. How does he stack up in the league as an attacking midfielder?
Ryan Cherki is a league standout in both assists and successful dribbles. He ranks in the top 2% for assists with a season average of 1.4, compared to the league norm of 1.1. His successful dribbles are equally impressive, boasting a 2.6 average versus the league's 1.5. These categories highlight Cherki's elite status among attacking midfielders, despite his goal drought.
Given Cherki's exceptional league standing, how does he measure up against his positional peers in key performance areas?
Ryan Cherki is truly leading the pack among attacking midfielders. His assists average of 1.43 outshines peers like Bruno Fernandes, who averages 1.0. In terms of chances created, Cherki's 2.71 per game surpasses Bruno's 2.34. And when it comes to successful dribbles, Cherki's 2.59 is unmatched, outperforming Florian Wirtz's 1.51. These stats underscore his dominance in the league, despite his ongoing goal drought.
Earlier, we compared Cherki to his peers, but let's shift to Martin Dubravka and his recent performance. How does Dubravka's current form stack up against his season averages?
Martin Dubravka truly excelled with a rating of 8.3, notably surpassing his season average of 6.9. He also achieved a personal best in saves, recording 8.0 versus his typical 3.8. However, in good high claim, he struggled at 0.0, below his 1.4 average. Inside the box, he was outstanding, making 5.0 saves, well above his 2.7 average.
Frank, Dubravka's current stats are intriguing. How does he rank against other goalkeepers in the league?
Martin Dubravka posted a solid performance, ranking in the 73rd percentile across the league with a rating of 8.26. This positions him above notable peers like Walter Benitez from Crystal Palace, who sits at 7.3, and Emiliano Martinez from Aston Villa at 6.93. Dubravka's consistency is evident, especially when considering the league average rating is 6.79, showing he's a dependable presence in the goalkeeping landscape.
With Dubravka's league standing clear, let's talk about Jeremy Doku. How's his individual performance this season?
Jeremy Doku has a standout rating of 7.7, right in line with his 7.1 season average. However, he struggled in a few areas. No goals, which is below his 1.0 goal average, and 0 shots on target compared to his 1.57 average. Additionally, his accurate crosses were also at 0.0, falling short of the 1.88 seasonal benchmark.
Despite Doku's struggles with shots, let's shift focus. How does he rank as a winger against the league?
Jeremy Doku is exceptional among wingers, excelling in 3 key areas. He's in the top 2% for chances created with 2.0 per match, surpassing the league average of 1.65. His accurate crosses also place him in the top 2%, with a season average of 1.9 against the league's 1.3. Most impressively, his successful dribbles rank in the top 1%, averaging 3.0 per match compared to the league's 1.6.
Doku's winger prowess is clear, but let's look at Bernardo Silva's recent form. How's he faring this season?
Bernardo Silva has been impressive, especially in his rating, hitting 7.7 compared to his typical 7.0. He's excelled in key passes too, delivering 7.0 against his 2.1 average. However, he struggled with goals, recording none, far below his average of 1.0. Overall, his playmaking capabilities really stood out, despite the lack of goals.
Bernardo Silva has been a playmaking maestro, but let's shift focus to Erling Haaland. How does he compare to his own seasonal averages?
Erling Haaland's consistency is notable with a rating of 7.6, matching his season's 7.4 average. However, he had an off day creating big chances, with 0.0 compared to his usual 1.1. Interestingly, he excelled in shots total, recording 5.0, surpassing his typical 3.7. Yet with goals, he fell slightly short with 1.0 against his 1.4 average.
Erling Haaland's performance was intriguing, contrasting to Manchester City's 1-0 win. They dominated with 65% possession and superior chance creation, 4.0 to 1.0. A huge thanks to Frank Hardy for his analysis. Thanks for tuning in to Stats Madness. See you next time.